10 seconds, 10 seconds.
No, we lost the music, but hopefully this is getting broadcast. Good morning, Geauga County. You're listening to the Voice of Geauga, where every morning, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m., you'll be informed, entertained, and enlightened. And this morning we have Jonathan Broadbent as usual. I'm Skip Claypool, and
Good morning, everyone.
we have a special guest, Frank Kavanaugh, out of Century Village in Burton, Ohio, Geauga County resident, longtime resident, and great guy. And we're going to be talking about the history of Geauga County and a lot of stuff in that area. But I will say, I want to do a quick update to those people that are out there listening. You might have heard something yesterday about a special ADP meeting. We're going to be talking about that more in this program. We've got we're looking for Friday to have some special guests on to talk about that and other things Geauga County politics wise. So we probably won't get into politics too much today, but I want to give everybody a heads up that that's coming. It was a special meeting that's going to impact the taxpayers in Geauga County. And if you're from Geauga County, you should be listening to the program on Friday because there's things happening that are going to impact you. You know, this whole property tax thing is going to impact you. ADP is going to impact you. The upcoming election, depending on who gets elected, is going to impact you. So there's lots and lots of stuff on this program, The Voice of Geauga, that will impact you. So you want to make sure you tune in, you get your friends to tune in. We are streaming live this morning on Rumble, and people are starting to show up already on Rumble, Facebook, and YouTube. And so you can always listen to the programs or watch the programs either by live streaming from Wint Radio or from our website, or going to one of our channels, Facebook, Rumble, or YouTube, and then you can always catch up on the program that way. So we're excited to be with you this morning, and I happen to be remoting in. I won't tell you from where, but I'm excited to be here. And Jonathan, how are you this morning, Frank?
Good to see you guys. Thanks for having me on today. Things are good.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for coming back on and joining us again, Frank Kavanaugh. So Skip mentioned that Frank Kavanaugh is a Geauga native, but actually it goes a lot deeper than that. I've heard about the Kavanaugh family, and I think Frank represents, 6 generations of Kavanaugh in Geauga County?
You know, unfortunately, my Uncle Bobby just passed last month, and let me do it real quick in my head. There was Robert, Ignatius, Robert, PJ, Andy, Ignatius, so that's 6, yeah. Because now the youngest Kavanaugh is Ignatius Kavanaugh again, and he's 3. So, it's a total different subject than what I was going to talk about, but just for fun, I went back and was looking at the tax records just to see how long the farm up there on 44 had been in the Kavanaugh family. And since 1919, Robert, my great-great-grandfather, bought it in 1919. In 1920, the farm was in his name and all of his sons. And they were in from 18 to like 25. And then they all got their own separate properties within the next 5 years. Ignatius took over the farm on 44 because Robert helped his sons. He bought a property and then he put his sons on the deed. And because they were on the deed, they could then go and get other properties. And that was really, really cool to me to find out that that's, families helping each other is how the Kavanaughs have been staying here. And just this last weekend, we went and got a new maple syrup boiler off the Wilkes brothers, that it's generational deep. And that's the beauty of Geauga County is that there are families that have been out here for so long that just really love this place. and love, the wild highlands of Geauga County is what I like to call it.
The Wild Highlands. Yeah, it's, I mean, you know that old adage from the foundation of our country, what have you given us? A republic if you can keep it. And what do we have? We have a Geauga County if we can keep it. So that was just a subtle reference to some of the things Skip was talking about. Some of the moves we need to be making in order to keep Geauga Geauga. But in order to kick off our conversation, let's start at the top, Frank Kavanaugh, with what's really important, and that's pancakes. And pancakes
Yes.
syrup. If you come and find us on social media, Skip mentioned we're broadcasting now on a podcast on Voice of Geauga on Rumble, Facebook, and YouTube. And what you'll notice is I'm wearing my West Geauga Kiwanis pancake hat in honor of discussion of pancakes. So there is a beautiful little booklet, and I'll tell you what, my tip of the hat to the people in Burton. Burton has released a beautiful pamphlet called Discover Burton, Ohio, and it's really well done. And it's got all kinds, it's packed with details, and one of the first things is stuff that Frank Kavanaugh was saying last time he was on air with us. Pancake Town, USA has served, and I quote from this pamphlet from Burton, Ohio, over 2.25 million pancakes and 1.58 million cups of coffee to more than 681,697 visitors, using more than 27,063 gallons of pure maple syrup and 159 pounds of sausage during Sundays in March. And we know what just happened 2 days ago, Sundays in March. So Frank, bring us up to speed. Where are the pancake breakfasts happening?
So it always starts every year at the Auburn Fire Station. It's the last weekend in February. And then that's the kickoff to the month of March in Geauga County. There are pancake breakfasts everywhere. In Burton, we have them at the fire station, at the American Legion, and of course at my favorite place, and at the high school, and at Punderson. So if you're standing in the square, you look any direction, there's pancake breakfast. But I want everybody to go to the southeast, to the Century Village, because we have been really pulling out the stops this year on our pancake breakfast. We've got the Maple Museum will be open during the pancake breakfast, so you can check it out. And depending on if the sap is running, we'll be boiling off sap to actually make maple syrup at the Maple Museum. So that's always an awesome thing. The kids, it just blows their minds when they walk in there, because if you've never been into a sugar house when they're evaporating, it's raining in there, and it's raining sweet sap water. It's very cool experience. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, definitely. Make a point to go and take your kiddos. Take the kids and go and venture into a sugar house. I still remember the first time I did.
And I got to jump in, Jonathan and Frank, because Burton's a great place. I love Burton, and they do a great job of the pancake breakfast. But that's not the only place in Geauga County having pancake breakfast. Chesterland and the Kiwanis in Chesterland is doing pancake breakfast. We got pancake breakfast going all over the place. It's kind of like a special thing in Geauga County. I mean, other places I've lived have fish fries, and that's their big thing. But we in Geauga County like to do pancake breakfast, and they're all over the county, and because we got a great maple syrup, and I go through a lot of maple syrup, Geauga County maple syrup in my home, because I use that in place of anything. I use sugar, and I bake with it, I make bread with it, and all that kind of stuff. So just a shout out to the Kiwanis and the Rotary and all these various organizations across Geauga County. We need to get a list on our website of all the pancake breakfasts going on across the county. But Burton's special. It does have the sugar house downtown and a lot of stuff going on in the downtown area. So I'm sorry for interrupting, but I had to just call out all the pancake breakfasts going on in Geauga County and ask all the Lake County to come on over. Come to your sister county and eat pancakes.
Well, it's great that you say that. We have Dorothy in Rumble commenting, I grew up in Lake County. I clearly remember going to the Burton Fire Station for the pancake breakfast. We started going again with my little family and my parents many years ago. And we have another comment here. We're going to be going again in a week or two. Sounds like they're looking forward to it. The only problem I see here is it's early in the morning and this conversation is making me hungry.
I only have. I'm going to enter one more time. And if you're over in Burton and you're getting pancakes, after you eat pancakes for breakfast, run over to Middlefield to Great Lakes Outdoor Supply and check out all the products that they've got over there, because they've got some great spring winter products, camping gear. They've got backpacks, hunting gear, archery gear, fishing gear, and I hear tell maybe even pickleball paddles in the future. But so just run over to Great Lakes Outdoor Supply. It's a great place to go right after you finish your pancake breakfast.
Yeah, there you go. You can go in adventure and plan all of your next adventures at Great Lakes Outdoor Supply, which happens to be the sponsor of this show. We're coming up on a break. Don't forget, you can call in and join the conversation at 440-946-9468. We are keeping an eye on all three platforms. We're streaming to, that's Rumble, Facebook, and YouTube. In keeping with our long-standing pattern here, we have most of the conversation taking place on Rumble. If you have a question, feel free to enter it on Rumble. We'll do our best to incorporate that into the discussion. When we come back, we're going to be talking about some history and some things to look forward to in and around Geauga County. Remember again, that phone number, 440-946-9468. We'd love to have you join us on air and share your thoughts, comments, questions, or experiences, pancakes or otherwise. We'll come back with more on the other side of the break.
Mics are off.
Cool. So now we can continue with the podcast conversation. So, man, yeah, I did actually. I was up super early. I don't even know why. I woke up long before my alarm was set, and got up.
Excited because I was going to be on the show.
I was, and most of my brain and all of my subconscious was focused. It was like, today's Frank Day. Frank Kavanaugh's coming on. Ding! I was like wide awake at 4.
I know I will.
Yeah. Well, we look forward to having you back on this show. It's awesome.
I love it.
I did get breakfast, but it seems like now we're talking about pancakes, and my stomach's like, what? I don't remember any breakfast.
I got a little chuckle for the audience here listening to Rumble on our program. I'm checking the various channels: Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble, and all of the channels. The chat window is open, and so there is a little teaser that comes from the YouTube side that said, "Welcome to the chat. Remember to guard your privacy and abide by our community policies." And so I will notice that on the Rumble channel, hey, it's a free-for-all. Say what you want to say, buddy. It's free speech all the time, full time. And on YouTube, it's, well, be careful what speech you use. So.
Right. Yeah. You know, it's funny you say that, because one of my things I've been saying recently, I'm going to give a little snippet of music, or not music, but movie history. Quentin Tarantino wrote a movie called True Romance, and he was planning on filming it, but he sold the rights to it in order to fund Reservoir Dogs. And there's a line from the movie, Christian Slater actually plays in it with one of the Arquettes. Was it Patricia?
Yeah, and great movie.
Yeah, it was an intense movie, but he has this line in it. He says, "Live fast, die hard, and leave a good-looking corpse." So actually, in my mind, every time I hear this new thing of everywhere you go, everyone's like, stay safe, be safe. I translate that in my mind to, no, I don't plan to be safe. I want to live fast, die hard, and leave a good-looking corpse. Because personally, I'm sorry to be morose, but I think that's a better life.
30 seconds.
That's the life that I plan to lead, not,
Well, if you're good with everything and you're, like, if you're good, you should be ready to go at any second. If it ends right now. So it's like, that's how you kind of should be. And it's not, I don't think that's like, it's how you do it.
10 seconds.
Welcome back to Voice of Geauga and WINT Radio. That's 101.5 FM, 1330 AM. You can, of course, stream this audio at wintradio.com or go to voiceofgeauga.com and click on the stream button. With us today we have Skip Claypool from an unknown, undisclosed, distant location, and myself, Jonathan Broadbent, and returning guest, Frank Kavanaugh. Before the break, we were talking about cool stuff coming up, and Frank, before the show began, you were talking about Dan Rager, an historian who has something coming up in April 16th, right? Tell us about it.
Geauga County is unique in that, especially if you're like in the Newberry area, South Newberry, over by Punderson, there was two interurbans around the turn of the last century, from the 19th to the 20th century. That one was on Bell Street, and the other interurban was at Punderson, on the other side of the lake from the mansion there, and that created, there was it would take you a day to get to Cleveland by road because the roads were so bad. And so the interurban created a highway, basically, for the products of Geauga County, maple syrup and milk, mostly milk, to go into Cleveland, and that really is what made Geauga County a rural community. So at Century Village on April 16th at 6:30, we're having a talk by a man named Dan Rager, who is a local Geauga County historian. He was a professor at Cleveland State University. He's written 8 books on the interurban and various local history. So if you want to know about the history of the interurbans in Geauga County, come and visit us at Century Village on April 16th at 6:30. And I'm really looking forward to it. I'm very excited. It's going to be given in the depot, which we have one of the interurban depots at Century Village, and in that depot is a museum on the railroads of Geauga County. What's really cool about Century Village, Century Village is a museum, but it has 29 historical buildings there, and every single building I consider its own museum. So we don't have the manpower to have all the buildings open all the time, so we have to pick and choose. And so for April, we're really going to focus on having the railroad depot open so that people can go and check out that museum, So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. So if everyone can join us, that would be very cool. And it's free to the public. We're accepting donations, but the most important thing is we just want to see people there. So you don't have to give any money if you want to. That's fine. But come and learn about Geauga County, because the more that you know about your history, about where you live, the more confidence it gives you in yourself. And you have a bridge to the past so that you can put a hand up to the future. And that's the most important thing that history teaches us is, again, history doesn't repeat. It rhymes because human nature repeats. And so you can learn about the history of Geauga County and what happened to the interurbans and how they went kaput and bankrupt. And, then you can start talking about what's going on in Geauga County right now with our auditor and with what's going on with our property taxes. I'm a disabled veteran who owns my house straight out, but I have to pay rent.
That's a great.
Yeah, and you got elected, Frank. Thanks for teasing it. There's elected officials who are right now spreading propaganda and fear mongering about getting rid of property tax. The rent that you talk about on the property. I own my home, and I've got to pay in a huge amount of money every year to rent my own home that I purchased. There's all kinds of taxing methods. Property tax is just a taxing method. And so we've got all kinds of other taxing methods we could use. And so people who are listening to this program, you need to understand all that fear mongering, the police are going to go away, schools are going to go away, woe is us, woe is us. It's going to be a crisis. No, it won't be a crisis. We're just going to have to get our elected officials to start doing their job and come up with a new formula, a new method for taxing. In addition to
We're going to
that,
have some episodes that focus on that for sure. But Frank, drilling down on this great event on April 16th, what time, from when to when on April 16th at the train depot will people be going?
Okay, so if you go to Century Village Museum is on the southeast corner of the Burton Square, and just park in the parking lot and go go into the museum and take a right at the first gravel road, and right in front of you you will see a caboose, and then you will see an old-fashioned train station. It'll be very hard to miss. It's
Yeah.
yeah, so, and that's gonna happen on the 16th of April at 6:30, and it'll go until the last person leaves.
Hey,
So,
Frank, where do they get their pancake mix from? Who makes the mix?
that is a proprietary information that I'm not
Oh, you can't give that recipe out? Is that what you're telling me? Because I'm looking for a new pancake recipe. So,
we'll have to talk offline. I can't say it on the
but
air.
but that's a custom mix. You guys make that, or Burton makes their pancake mix themselves. They don't go buy Christie's down at Costco, right?
No. Linda Terrasano is the president of Century Village, and she's been there 17 years now, and she is the queen bee of the pancakes, and it's like she's been getting ready for 2 weeks before they started this last weekend. It's like it reminded me of pre-deployment when I went to Iraq, how just everybody was so intense and so ready, and the first one went great, but I don't think she'd be happy if I told you the recipe at all. No.
Oh, but
yeah,
you know the
especially on
recipe.
air.
Is that what it is? If you know the recipe, let's go out for a bourbon one night, Frank.
Okay.
Oh boy, wheeling and dealing over the inside scoop on the pancake recipes. So that is again Dan Rager, historian. Anybody with kids out there, I'm just going to drop a little dad joke. Go and tell your kids that you've been considering a career change and to become an historian, and then pause and tell them your friends talked you out of it because they said there's no future in that. But that's a little dad joke to share with any parents out there. So, Frank, before the show, you mentioned something really interesting about guns at the museum, and you said that there were guns that were stolen in 1971, and since then you've really had buttoned up security. Tell us more about that. What happened, and what does that museum look like now?
You know, that was something that I found out about. Just I was looking into other things, and I found out about that. We do have a great collection up there at the museum that we don't really. You're not going to see it on our website because of that very fact that we don't. But we would love people to come and see that. You know, the whole museum started around that white brick house that's at the right on the Hitchcock house. That's right on the square, and there was just that and the barn. None of those other buildings were there, and they've all either been brought there, donated. So I don't really want to focus on that negative event. Hopefully, it never happens again.
Oh yeah, well, it sounds like you've got security buttoned up.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's very secure there now. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, back in '71, it sounds like things weren't expected, but that's really cool to know. So you said 29 buildings. Could you pause just briefly just to outline like the different content and what to expect throughout the 29 buildings?
So we have modern facilities. The Bond Building is our educational center where we have displays. When we just had the Anzio display, they had the German forces had all of their weapons on display. So that's a modern building. Then we have the brick house is the original house we have. Then we have a country store. We have a country store where you can come and just buy local Geauga County products, and that's open Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And then next to that, we have a schoolhouse. On the square, we have the old Auburn Community Church. That's on the top of the square. And then around the square, we have the Fountain House, which was owned by, people don't know that a lot of people don't know this about Burton, but Burton had a bank that failed in 1903. And the month before, the National Bank that's still there opened up. The Bowtons owned that bank. When that bank failed, it basically dried up financing for new construction in Burton for about 20 years. And so a lot of those old historic houses that are there, thank goodness they're there. And what makes Burton so awesome as a historical gem is because there wasn't money to rip them down and put up new buildings. So that it was like a bad thing that happened to Burton, but it also caused on the back end a good thing. So that's one of the houses we have, is the owner of that bank, the Boughton House. And then we have the Maple Museum, which at the back, which tells the history of all maple syruping from when the Native Americans started doing it until now. And we have an actual evaporator in the back.
Frank, I'm sorry to interrupt. We're coming up on a break. When we come back from the break, more on an overview of the 29 buildings to be found in Burton.
We can work it out and get it straight, or say goodnight.
Gun thing. Sorry.
It's all right. We're don't give any secrets out. We're still talking to our chat groups.
Yeah, so
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
we're still, I know it's hard to get used to. It's taken Skip and it's taken Skip and me a little time to get used to the fact that we're actually broadcasting twice effectively. We've got the radio show, and then we have our live stream audience that we podcast to. And that is very active. I see a lot of people talking about all kinds of stuff. The big hoopla, Frank, I think you're already aware, I am one of the hosts of Ohio Political News with Joe Miller and Brian Massey. And a couple of nights ago on Sunday, we hosted Nikki Frenchco, who is running to oppose Dave Joyce. And I think it was a good interview. I think she did well. She conducted herself very well. And she seems to be a pretty a go-getter. She wants to get out there and try and clean things up. We know we've got some issues in this area. So there's some chat here, people recommending going and finding that, and that is, of course, Ohio Political News. Between this show and Ohio Political News, we try and cover all the bases. The other show is All Things Ohio. This one is primarily focused on Geauga. Of course, it's a great opportunity when we get to invite Frank back onto the show.
Super fun coming here, man. Yeah, I want to keep talking about. I went down one half of the square, so I'm like halfway through.
Okay. When we come back, I'm just going to bring us back and have you keep going. You can work your way around the square and talk about some more of the other buildings. Is there like one of those, you should have one of those passport kind of things, like you stamp it, you visit all 29 and get a stamp in each one, and then kids can get like a free gift or something?
I think Pioneer School, they do something like that, because we have Pioneer School coming up there. That's Pioneer School and Viking Fest are both something that I should mention for homeschool parents, because you know what, I don't know the dates on Pioneer School. It's in June.
You know what? As I was making my way to bed last night, I go to bed early because of this show. My wife had Little House on the Prairie on. We were watching an episode. I got drawn into it. I still love that show.
Have you ever read those books?
Little
House on the Prairie, Little House in the Big Woods, and Farmer Boy? If you're a gardener, you talk about this on the show, dude. Farmer Boy.
Farmer Boy. Okay.
Yeah.
It sounds like that's important.
Yes. It's important.
We will bring it up when we go back on air. So for our listening audience on the podcast, this is our longest break. This middle break is a little bit longer. So we've got 4 minutes here where commercials are going out over the air on the radio station.
30 seconds. 30 seconds.
You're just catching a little bit of kind of behind the scenes, what takes place during our breaks. Which reminds me to tell your friends, queue up other people, tell them that this is going on, and they can listen in and even join in on Rumble, Facebook,
10
And
seconds. 10 seconds.
Yeah, we really need to spread the word. And Frank, spread the word to your crowd.
For sure, for sure.
Welcome back to Voice of Geauga with Skip Claypool, myself, Jonathan Broadbent, and special returning guest Frank Kavanaugh. Before we went to break, we were talking about the 29 buildings that make up the museum in Burton. And Frank had made his way around part of the square. Frank, keep going. What else are we going to find?
So I left us at the Maple Museum, which is on the east side of the square, right in front of one of the most beautiful views of Geauga County you will ever see. The view from Century Village in Burton to Middlefield is just phenomenal, with the Upper Cuyahoga Valley there. And then next to that we have the Cookhouse, which is one of the original houses in Geauga County, which we have the Cookhouse is set up as how a house around the turn of the 1800s, like 1790s to the beginning of 1800s would be. In there you can see a toaster, and what a toaster was they had a contraption that would hold bread up right in front of the fire. It was made out of metal, and it had a little spring on it that you would hit with your toe, and then you would turn the bread with your toe. And that's the reason the toaster is called a toaster, is because the original toaster was a contraption that you stirred with your toe to make sure that your bread didn't get toasted on only one side. So that's in the Cookhouse.
Wow.
Yeah. Next to that, I actually lived in a house that was built in 1847, and coincidentally, the original barn from my property is the woodworking barn at Century Village. That's the next building next to the Cookhouse. So now you're on the south side. The big red barn is the woodworking barn. Next to that, we have the Western Reserve Artist Blacksmith Association. These guys are amazing, the blacksmith shop. Every event, they're there hammering. That is a crowd pleaser, the blacksmith shop. So if you're there, definitely go check out those guys. And if you got your kids with you, you can probably make a brand onto some wood. So right next to that is the depot I've been talking about, right next to the blacksmith shop. Next to that is a steam sawmill that we have it'll probably be running apple butter. We do it once a year, where we have in the barn there is a steam boiler that it looks like a train in there, basically. Oh. And then it's all vaults and pulleys, and we have a working sawmill there. Next to that is a pottery house, where we have a potter where you can see how to make pottery, and then the whole house is full of his work. Next to that is it's the old country store that was in Bainbridge on 306, and I think it's Bainbridge Road, right there across from the church. We have that, and that's our country store, where you can go in there and see what a country store would be like around 1850 to 1880. Next to that, we have the Woman's Friend, which is it's a clothing shop just for the ladies. Which, sorry, I don't really know that much about it because I haven't been in that building too much. But ladies, I hear it's great, so go check it out. And am I missing anything? I think that's it for the buildings that you can go into. We have a historic gazebo there. We have a bunch of little out buildings too. So whatever you do there, you're not going to have enough time in one day to see everything, because like I was saying before, Century Village is the museum that has a collection of museums in it. Coming up in April, the railroad depot is going to be the museum that we want people to focus on. So the other thing I wanted to talk about, in the break, we were talking about Laura Ingalls Wilder and her Little House on the Prairie book, and Big House in the Woods book, Little House in the Woods book, and she also wrote a book called Farmer Boy. And if any of you in Geauga County are gardeners, there's probably very few of us here, right, that are gardeners. If you want to learn about how the homesteaders gardened, read Farmer Boy. It's a book that Laura Ingalls Wilder wrote about her husband, and in it, explains in detail how to grow potatoes, how to grow a multitude of different vegetables, and it'd be very, very cool book to read if you're into that kind of stuff. So, also coming up there at Century Village this summer, we're going to have Pioneer Fest or Pioneer School. So if you're a homeschool parent and you're listening, in June we have Pioneer School where your kids can go for a week and learn. Also, on May 1st, the Viking Festival is happening. And on May 1st, on that Friday, is going to be a homeschool day for any parents that want to bring their kids there.
Hey, before you move on from Viking Fest, we have had direct communications and maybe planning something special around Viking Fest and Voice of Geauga. So stay tuned on that. We're working on something unique and very special to tie in and raise awareness of Viking Fest.
Oh, and John, I'm sorry, it's the Pioneer School is in July. It's from July 6th to 10th. So
July 6th to 10th.
Yeah, I said,
okay.
My bad.
Wow. So there's tons of stuff coming up. And that reminds me, one of the things that we talk about often, and this brings Skip and the website and plans for the newspaper, all these things that are going on all over Geauga County. You can't see it if you're not watching on the podcast, but really, truly, this booklet that I opened the show with, Discover Burton, Ohio, is spectacular. The people that put this together did an amazing job. I mean, this really makes me proud to be near Burton, Ohio. We have plans to continue to bring this kind of information to Geauga using Voice of Geauga. Maybe the newspaper, maybe the website, certainly social media, and maintain that calendar of events. It's social, food, pancakes, political, you name it. We want to build Voice of Geauga in a way that is very meaningful to Geauga residents. So I wanted to interject that because I envision a time where people say, I'd really love to go to the museum. I wonder what's going on. And of course, they can check the website, but they might also check Voice of Geauga and learn about what's happening in our community because there just always seems to be so much cool stuff.
The Geauga County has a spirit of what what I was doing this weekend on Sunday. I was out in the woods, boiling off maple syrup, freezing, for fun. That's what people in Geauga County do. You have people that go and sit in tree stands with a bow and arrow in 30-degree weather for fun. That's what we do out here. It's like you have to work to go have fun. And it's like that kind of mentality out here where you can't be lazy and enjoy living in Geauga County.
Be careful, Frank, because you're going to get all these people wanting to overwhelm Geauga County for all that fun you were just talking about.
Well, yeah, you're the kind of person, you have to make your own fun.
Let me tell you. Nothing like freezing in the woods waiting for that deer to walk out. I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
Something I have yet to try, but I plan to. And maybe after my next visit to Great Lakes Outdoor Supplies.
Well, I think you can go get some pancakes. That warms you up a little bit before you get out into the woods. Although Perfect. Deer season's over with right now, so you have to go get some pancakes and just kind of go relax by the fire and enjoy being with all the good folks in Geauga County. Go over to Middlefield because Middlefield's got some good stuff going on too. So, like you said, Jonathan, I mean, there's so much good stuff. I'd hate to see it wrecked by some of our goofy politicians, but as long as we're keeping an eye on them and making people aware of what's going on there, I think we're in pretty good shape. And so
we have a great comment from Dorothy who says, "Thanks for the book suggestion. I love to garden." So it looks like we've won over at least one more.
Cool.
To going and reading Farmer Boy.
And Dorothy, I want you to enter the Geauga County Fair this year. I'm challenging you. I want you to grow peppers, and me and you are going to go head to head on peppers. So.
They also, I'm watching a comment. Somebody asked if the petition for the property tax was going to be circulated in Burton during the pancake breakfast when everybody's downtown. Could they do that, Frank? Do you think?
I don't know if we can do that because we're a nonprofit. And so that, I don't know. I don't know.
Well,
I
it's
will find
a
out.
public square. I don't know if somebody, not you, but some citizens decided they wanted to go circulate the petition downtown Burton.
I mean, you could definitely go into downtown Burton, into the square
Yeah.
with a petition, with whatever petition you want. I'm sure. So
That's
Walk the square. What I would suggest to our listening audience is get copies of the petition. Go there with clipboard and pen. If you go into museum property, just try and find somebody who works there and ask permission. Just make sure that it's okay. You may also find information on the website. You don't want to go and upset the apple cart or give a bad name to people out there collecting signatures on the petition to, of course, we're talking about the petition to abolish property taxes in Ohio. And of course, on that, stay tuned because I will, of course, bring my co-host from Ohio Political News, Brian Massey, back on this show. Brian and I spend a lot of time communicating together around that other program, and I do, through Leonard Gilbert and Brian Massey, get a lot of information. We're coming up on a break, but remember, you can, of course, join this conversation by dialing in 440-946-9468, or, as we've been reading off of the comments on Rumble, you can join the live stream of this and even see the video and see Frank Kavanaugh's smiling face at Voice of Geauga on Rumble, Facebook, and YouTube. We'll come back with more on the other side of the break.
Don't let me down.
As Frank, I have been pretty weak on growing peppers. One of the things I just can't seem to grow well.
okay, well, pick something else, whatever
Okay.
it is. I'll grow it too.
All right, there you go.
Yeah.
The gauntlet is thrown, Dorothy. You come up with something, and I will read it to Frank, and we have a challenge. See which one of you throws the better something.
And Dorothy, I'll take care of your premium to sign up. I'll take care of it for you. So don't worry about that.
There we go. Nice, generous offer. We have a comment here. Voice of Geauga should do an event where people can come and meet your regular guests. Yeah, absolutely. Would you do that, Frank? If we pick some spot.
Absolutely. Yeah, that'd be super fun, man.
Yeah, maybe do a remote show from the museum.
Oh, well, I'd have to ask them there. A round table.
Yeah,
Do a round table.
so people could come up. I mean, that's one of the things Skip and I've been talking about. I mean, I can see whatever technology Skip has, it's extraordinary. You really can't tell the difference. It looks like, it could be in his home studio. He even has the background back up again, it's streaming the audio, everything looks great. If we could do that from spots all over Geauga County,
30 seconds, 30 seconds.
different diners and restaurants, you name it.
That'd be a cool idea, dude. Very cool.
easy peasy, Jonathan.
Yeah. Skip with his fancy cool tech, making it happen. All right, so
10 seconds.
To his knees. Got to be a joke.
welcome back to Voice of Geauga with Skip Claypool, myself, Jonathan Broadbent, and special returning guest Frank Kavanaugh. You never know what to expect on Voice of Geauga. During the break, we had an interesting exchange with one of our regular commenters and guests, Dorothy. So Dorothy and Frank are in the beginning stages of launching a challenge to see which one of them grows better. And it looks like we may be looking at either broccoli or cauliflower. We're
Oh
talking about.
man, both of those are hard to grow. Cauliflower, the birds love to eat that. But you know what, Dorothy, you pick whatever you want. Let's grow both.
So we've got the beginnings of a challenge here. Frank Kavanaugh has thrown down the gauntlet and he said, you pick, and I will try to outgrow you. So that's the kind of thing I love to hear. That's like true Geauga right there. Who's the better farmer?
Yeah. So when I first moved back here from Texas after the Army from Fort Hood, I entered the fair, and there was very few people in it, and it was kind of depressing. It was like I won a bunch of blue ribbons, but I was like, in some categories there'd be two people.
Oh,
So in the last couple of years, I'm not winning anything because so many people are joining up, are actually growing food, and I'd say that the fair is back to where I remember it as a kid, as far as vegetables. So I'm throwing down the gauntlet to all of Geauga County to come and grow food and enter it into the fair, and we'll see who has the greenest thumb. You
okay.
know? Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to talk to my wife about that. I've seen she's done some amazing things in garden, and we stood out as one of those very unusual couples back in Beechwood. We had some raised garden beds. My wife was doing some amazing growing, and people looked at that like we were strange. Out here, people look at the huge raised garden beds that we were doing in Beechwood, and they're like, "Why is your garden so small?" So it's all relative. Out here in Geauga County, I like to grow big gardens full of all kinds of amazing, yummy foods. So Frank, we're in our final minutes here. Is there anything that we've missed here? We want to make sure to cover during our time on Voice of Geauga.
I think I mentioned the Viking Fest, right? But always, go and check out local bands in Geauga County, whether it's at Reithoffer's, whether it's at Chesterland, just because even the Greenville Tavern, it it's very important that as Geaugians we support each other, and so I just encourage people to, if you're going to do business, do it in Geauga County. There's somebody in Geauga County where you can do everything with.
So Jonathan, a new brewery just opened up in Chesterland. You can't get near it. I'm going to invite the owner of that business onto the program. He is an interesting guy, retired and engineer, but had decided to brew beer. And so he's opened up a new restaurant slash brewery, and it's Geauga County all the way. And by the way, just real quick, we're planning a property tax forum where we can get true facts out. It'll be the middle of the month, say 15th, 17th in that area. And so as soon as we get that nailed down, we'll communicate that to everybody. But put that week in your calendar.
I lived in Texas. There's no income tax in Texas or Florida. And they seem to be running fine down there. So there's all kinds of different ways to finance government. We just have to be creative.
Well, there was no income tax in the United States until the 1930s, I think it was.
We should not be in the position where people stand to lose their homes over property tax. It's just, as you put it, Frank, it's just an ongoing rent payment forever to government. And you know who is suffering the most are our veterans and elderly. They disproportionately out on the street, and that is an outrage. We need to honor our prior generations, and we need to honor our military veterans without jeopardizing homes. So there is that big push. And Skip, you're right. There are lots of different places of many of these events where we can, people can come out with a clipboard and collect those signatures. A few nights ago, I mentioned that on Ohio Political News, we had Nikki Frenchco as guest. Brian Massey was talking about signature collection, and we are approaching as a state. I am following Brian Massey's lead on this. He will not disclose publicly the number of signatures because we have some people who are combating against that. But he is targeting getting 1 million signatures. And I think it's very doable. With the amount of buzz around eliminating property taxes in Ohio, 1 million signatures is doable. And that sends a loud and clear message. Oh, just so you know, another little teaser, just prior to Sunday's show, Leonard Gilbert, Brian Massey, and several others met with Vivek Ramaswamy in his home near Columbus. He's purchased a new home near the Capitol, and Vivek Ramaswamy and his wife were kind enough to host them for a discussion. They said it was about 90 minutes. They talked about eliminating property taxes in Ohio. So that's a little teaser for my other program, Ohio Political News. So in our final minutes here, there's a question that I have. You're talking about supporting local bands, and I'm all for it. For anybody that doesn't know, Frank has a long music career, played with many different bands, toured the world. It's involved in, you can see a platinum album behind him, a couple of gold.
You know, I forgot about this. I'm sorry to interrupt you. See
Go
how
ahead.
empty space on the wall right there?
Yeah.
That record is actually up at Century Village right now. So if you want to go to Century Village and to go eat pancakes, we have a display on all the movies that have been made in Geauga County and music that has been made in Geauga County. And there's been, Scott Whalen from Stone Temple Pilots went to Kenston. I live here. There's a lot of people from, not a lot, but there's a good number of people that made music, created music that are from Geauga County, and that record is up on display right now. So if you want to go up to and see a real platinum record up close, go up to the museum and get some pancakes. It's right at the entrance.
You heard it here. You've got the voice, and if you're on social media, you see the face connected to that platinum record. And there's also, Frank, there's a, what is the coffee house at Burton Square? Beans? Is that Beans?
Coffee Corners?
Coffee Corner. Sorry,
Coffee
I got
Corners.
mixed up with I think it's Chardon. Chardon has Beans. Burton has Coffee Corner. Coffee Corners, I think, has live music. So,
Yeah, Coffee Corners has live music. Reichhoffers has live music. Open mic nights at both places all during the week. So, it's around. It's all around. And if you go and eat pancakes either at the fire station or at Century Village or at the American Legion, when you're done and you're feeling that food coma, go over to Coffee Corners and get yourself a coffee for the way
there
home.
you go.
Yeah.
And support local musicians. And if you have a budding musician in your family, that's a prime time for open mic night.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just go sign up, take in your guitar, whatever instrument, your singing voice, and get a good receptive crowd. I mean, there's no better Americana, no better cool spot to go and just enjoy open mic. I've been in there a couple of times. I just remember hearing there was a blues guitarist opening up, and I was surprised by it. I didn't know at the time they had a music night. That is a great venue with cool music to go and listen to. As we approach the conclusion of this show, just know, listening audience, that Frank will be a regular recurring guest. We're going to be inviting him back often to learn about all things Geauga. This history is important. In our closing seconds, Frank, early you said something that really resonated. What was it? Something like a handoff to the next generation comes from knowledge of the prior generation. You had an expression, I loved it. History
is a bridge to your past, and you are your, the generations that came before you. And when you know that history, it gives you confidence to reach a hand out to the future. So history is a bridge from the past
to the future.
Reaching out to the future.
With that, unfortunately, we're out of time. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Thank you. Thanks, you guys.